Hey everybody. Welcome to the D6 podcast. This is not the voice you're used to hearing. And I'm sorry if I'm very loud. This is hard to do when you're hearing the intro song in your in your headphones. It goes.
It wasn't completely untrue. They are used to hearing your voice.
Yes, but not at the very beginning of the show. But welcome to the Deep Six podcast. I'm your host, Dan. I was asked to introduce the show today, and I'm not quite sure why. This was a really bad idea. But hey, guys, what's going on? I believe this is episode 5. I can't believe we've already been doing this for 10 weeks now because we do these bi-weekly. But welcome. As Steven likes to usually say in his intro, we are coming to you from just outside of Philadelphia or somewhere within the Philadelphia confines. Not the International Space Station, as we...
Of pancakes.
Hey, that's my joke.
That's where we should literally introduce the show from now on.
That's my joke. Let's not steal it.
We're getting t-shirts made with that on it.
We are here. We are ready to roll. Steven, why don't you say hi to the guests? Since,
you want me to take it over, Dan?
I just want you to say hi. I mean, I'm trying to get to that point, how you usually do it.
You're doing a good job so far. Just keep things moving along. That's what a host does.
Just keep rambling while I watch the timer of the podcast. Just keep going down.
So, yeah, hi, guys. Welcome to the show. This is Steven, the voice you're used to hearing at the start of the Deep Six podcast. Tried to give it to Dan today. We'll work on it for next time.
You asshole. There's somebody else here, too. Why don't you introduce him?
Yeah, he doesn't count.
I guess I'll do that since I introduced the show today.
Thanks.
Sitting to my left, the listener's right, probably.
The listener's right.
Is Mr. Matt Barnes. What's going on, Matt? How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How about yourself?
Terrific.
Why is it terrific?
Somewhere north of terrible. I don't know. It's just,
Is north of terrible the place you want to be, or is
it's better to be south better than being south?
I don't know. South of terrible could be a nice little place. It's probably nice and warm and tropical.
What?
Are we thinking about terrible as the equator? I'm guessing that's what you're trying to say.
Are we saying that south of the equator is pretty bad?
I think that's a little racist. But I didn't say it. You did.
I didn't say it either. I asked if that's what we were saying. Steve, what's today's topic?
Well, I guess before we actually get started with the show, as always,
We're not started yet? I could have swore that said it was recording.
It is. But I mean, before we actually get into the full-fledged topics of today's show, which we don't even know what they are. Some housekeeping.
It's the best way to do it. I'm telling you.
House cleaning. I was a guest on the Gods and Monsters podcast this past whenever that was.
A store I finally had the chance to check out last week.
I want to thank the guys there. Art Miles. I said it enough times, right?
What's his name?
Art Miles.
Wait, say it slow.
Art.
Would he have a different last name if we were in the metric system?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him that.
Art Kilometers.
But Mr. Emmy Award-winning Art Miles.
Mr. Art.
And Greg Moan. I want to thank those guys. And I want to send out a congratulations to Gods and Monsters on being voted the best comic book shop in Orlando Weekly's 2016 Best of Orlando, beating out the 9-time champion, 9 years running.
Nine time. I'm not doing this.
Okay.
Wasn't counting anyway.
I was. Steven was. I saw his fingers.
But Gods and Monsters beating out the 9-time consecutive champion of a comic shop in Winter Park, Florida.
Is that the name?
Yep, that's literally called a comic shop.
That's terrible.
It's not terrible.
That's south of terrible.
What's the one in Winter Park?
A comic shop.
I can't say the whole time that I lived
So-
in Orlando
so are you
that
gonna
I went
tell-
to any comic shops. But if I saw that name on the building, I would literally walk by it and discuss.
Are you going to tell me the name of the comic shop?
The name is a comic shop.
So what's the name of the shop?
All right, we're moving on.
That literally gives me douche chills.
This is almost turning into an Abbott and Costello skit.
Moving on.
Who's on first?
I guess we'll get into our ketchup from...
I prefer mustard.
I knew you were going to say.
I was thinking it when you said it before.
Well, don't take credit for my funny jokes here, all right, peeps?
But we'll catch up with one another as to what we've been up to since the last podcast. Dan, why don't we start with you?
Oh, God, so you guys can complain at me for telling the world's longest story.
Just keep it short and sweet.
Well, you have perfect view of the timer, so I see where it's at right now.
What is my time limit?
If the 5 turns into a 7, you've been talking too long.
So I get a minute and 10 seconds.
Since it's about to turn into a 6 as it is.
You're losing time.
Why was 6 afraid of 7? So yeah, I was in Florida last week.
Oh, really? Me too.
You don't say. Yeah, so I was in Florida last week, and then I decided once I saw a tweet that NXT TakeOver Brooklyn tickets were like $10, I decided on a whim that we were going to go to Brooklyn for NXT TakeOver this past Sunday. That was a hell of a day. I had to fly home from Florida to Charlotte, North Carolina. Then
Woo!
Yes, the Queen City, a.k.a. Flair Country. And then I flew from there to Philly, and my flight was 30 minutes delayed, plus it took an hour to get my bag. I made it home by 5 o'clock, but we somehow made it to Brooklyn by 7, even though it was a 2-hour drive.
Are we going to make it to the end of this story by 7?
I was literally just about done my story, so you're the reason we're going to 7 minutes now. So I'll let Steven kind of take it from there.
So, yeah, Dan and I decided to trip on up to not Boston, Jesus.
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Sounded like you were going to say Baltimore.
Say.
Sounded like you were going to say
trip
Baltimore.
on up to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Where we were part of the 15,000+ people in the Barclays Center on Saturday, August 20th for NXT TakeOver Return to Brooklyn.
Nope, back to Brooklyn, but that's okay.
Whatever.
I don't think they're going to kill you if you got the name wrong. Just know that they were in Brooklyn for the second year in a row. That's all
you should really get the title right if you're going to talk about it.
Hey, I got it right.
Well, I know. I'm giving you credit.
I don't know, but...
See, y'all bitch at me for my stories, but my stories are factually accurate.
I think that I was doing that though.
Steven,
I'm an equal opportunity person.
Steven, continue your story.
So
as yours goes longer than mine.
We went on up to Brooklyn, and we were part of 15,000 strong.
I think you said that already.
Yeah.
Why don't you add on to the
going
story
back a little bit?
How was the show, Steve?
The show was great. The show was fantastic. It's probably the best show WWE put on in the whole 3+ days they were in Brooklyn, in my opinion.
Yeah. It was also the shortest, and I think that helped out a lot.
That's correct.
Factually accurate stories.
That's also correct.
But
fact. I'm the new Kurt Hawkins.
Aside from going to Brooklyn, I was also in Florida.
We got some great pizza while we were in Brooklyn, too.
We did. We had some very good pizza. Dan, why don't you let the listeners know where we stopped for pizza?
It's a nice little place that 2 of my friends who live in Brooklyn both work out. Shout out.
Sparrows.
My favorite New York pizza shop. Just like Michael Scott.
I love that you got The Office. Continue.
But yeah, it's a place that 2 of my buddies work at. Neither of them were working that night. Shout out to Dakota and AJ that I know from Brooklyn. But it's called Vinny's Pizzeria.
Vinny's Pizzeria. That's my favorite.
They have 2 locations, but the one that my friends work at, and I think personally the best one, is on Bedford Avenue in Brooklyn. Just about anything you can think of on pizza. I had buffalo chicken pizza, and
I don't want to say pretty famous, but somewhat famous pizza place.
If you know anything about the pizza place that's all over the internet that puts little tiny pizza slices on a big pizza slice.
They also made the pizza box out of pizza.
Yes.
And the internet meme of the trash can that says thanks with the period put between the T and the H.
Yes.
And it says T. Hanks, and it's a picture of Tom Hanks. That's from their restaurant.
They also,
as well.
If you have ever seen special boards on Tumblr or just anywhere on the internet, because they have made their way to Facebook and everything else, they do crazy artwork on their like specials board.
Almost like a real life Bob's Burgers kind of.
At their restaurant. Well, they draw art. Like, and Bob's Burgers.
But they also give them like specialty names.
Yeah, they have like pizza names for that day that are puns based on the characters. So like when Robin Williams died, they drew a whole bunch of Robin Williams characters on there and had them like had their pizza slices named after characters, and it was really cool. If you check that, they're on Tumblr, special boards, BORED. .tumblr.com if you want to check them out. They're really cool. And if you're ever in Brooklyn, I definitely suggest stopping by. They're some of the best pizza I've ever had.
So yeah,
sponsor us.
So what about you, Matt? How have you been over the last 2 weeks or so?
Not so bad. Why did I miss going to Takeover? Because I wanted to go. I did talk to you about that.
Yes, you did.
I had a fantasy football draft that night
yeah,
at Dave
you
and
did.
Buster's.
Dude, it's only the second week of the preseason.
I didn't schedule it. It's not my league.
Well, you need to smack your commissioner, man.
But it was at Dave and Buster's. That's why I couldn't
Did
go
you get
to Brooklyn.
Did you get anything included in
Back
that?
to Brooklyn. Return to Brooklyn.
It was back to Brooklyn. You got it right the first time. Did you get anything included in that, like pizza or food or games or anything?
You get a private room if you do your party there for your draft.
Oh,
cool.
shit.
And then you get 10% off your bill.
That's not bad.
Non-alcoholic beverages.
How many beers
If you
did
get
you drink?
alcoholic beverages, you have to pay full price.
And
how many beers do I have? I think I had like 4 or 5.
I was going to say, knowing Dave and Buster's, it was probably like $6 beers, and they were probably not good beer.
I think I was drinking Blue Moon. It was 7.
God, $7 for Blue Moon. I'd rather just... I'm not going to say what I'd rather do, actually, because I feel like there's a lot of things I'd rather do than drink $7 Blue Moons.
But,
so how'd your draft go? Who'd you get first? And
12-person draft. It was going very receiver-heavy early.
As
like
it
the first 2 picks.
As it should, because running backs are awful.
First 2 picks were Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham. By the time
what a shocker.
My 9th pick came up, I was like, okay, well, I got to take a receiver. And I was looking at some of the options, so I took Allen Robinson.
Great pick. Personally, one of my favorite wide receivers, not just because he went to Penn State. I think he's going to be...
Same.
I
was called a homer during the draft because I went to Penn State and I took Allen Robinson.
Wait, you went to Penn State too?
I did.
Why did... Wait.
This just turned into a bro down, didn't it?
Abington or main campus?
Technically, my degree is University Park, but I finished online.
Did you start at University Park?
I did go to University Park at one point.
Damn. Why didn't Steven let us know this information
I
before we
didn't know
became
this
co-hosts?
information.
We just it's like stepbrothers. We just became best friends.
Penn State connection. Wraparound, I took Lamar Miller as my number 1 running back.
It's not a bad pick. No, it's not. That's a good pick.
But just
especially in Houston where they don't have a quarterback now.
Well, if you're going to run Alfred Blue 20 times a game last year, you're definitely going to run it 20 times a game with Lamar Miller.
I still think it's funny that Arian Foster and Lamar Miller swapped places in teams. I think that's kind of interesting. But Steven's getting really bored with this football conversation. So
these headphones are just killing me right now.
You don't know shit about football, let's be honest.
That's why it's so entertaining.
Yeah. Sure. You say so.
How do you feel your team is overall, though?
In that league? I took
how many
some
leagues
risks.
are you in?
Well, how many fantasy football drafts have you already done before 3rd week?
I'm going to end up in 4. That's my first draft that I've done so far.
Fun fact, one time I did fantasy football, and...
He was awful.
No, I actually went undefeated for 6 weeks.
Well, 6 weeks out of what, 12? So you went 6-6?
Yeah. It was like the first 6 weeks I was
Then I didn't win for 6 weeks.
Guys, I was so good for 6 weeks.
No,
nobody heard from me again.
Actually, I think I had 8 wins overall, and lost in like somewhere in the early playoffs.
Somewhere in
what a
early,
forgettable
the early
season.
Playoffs.
Matt, how many championships do you have in your...
I mean, I don't have a trophy case, but,
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure if you've played enough fantasy football, like,
I've won several leagues over the course of time.
My one league, which is like my most...
I've won leagues I've been invited into, and then I won the first season, then I wasn't invited back.
My most, like, the one league I pay more attention to than any other. I'm really only in, like, 2 leagues anymore, because it just, time-wise, I can't keep up with 4 of them like you do, honestly. But the one league I've been in now for, I think this is my 6th season, is with a bunch of my friends, and we started keepers like last year and everything, so it's like pretty serious. I've won 3 championships in the last 4 years, back to back the last couple of years. So I'm going for a 3-peat this year. So watch out, everybody.
The 3-peat.
What an illustrious career you've had.
Everybody,
Dan.
watch out, LBS League.
It's basically a
Coming
Hall of
for
Fame
you.
coach.
Damn right. I'm gonna retire after this next one.
Uh,
Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson and all those famous coaches
You're
don't have
basically the
shit
white
on
Tony
me.
Dungy.
Hey, that's not a bad thing, all right?
moving on. Where do we move on to from here? You guys have anything else to catch us up on from the last 2 weeks? Matt's shaking his head no for those of you who can't see
I got
him.
nothing. This
Dan.
is generally what I do. I just
Should we
talk shit and watch movies.
Should we tell them about the thrill ride of trying to keep myself awake driving home from Brooklyn?
Oh
the
yeah,
other night?
jeez.
I
Feared
did a
for
lot
my
of
life.
I did a lot of drinking. Long story.
Wow.
Long story. No.
Did a lot of drinking. Then I drove home from Brooklyn.
No,
It was great.
No.
I'll tell you, I had a hell of a time.
Long story short, Friday night was my last night in Florida. I did a lot of drinking. Went out to a diner at like 3:30 in the morning. Didn't get home till like 4 o'clock and fell asleep. Had to be up by 6:30 and out the door to get on a flight. I'd been traveling all day, sat in Brooklyn traffic, and by the time I was on the New Jersey Turnpike, I literally felt like I was going to fall asleep. We were screaming, blasting rap music, rolling down my window, doing anything and everything to keep me awake. And somehow I stayed up for 90 minutes. And
That's what
I
a man
never-
does. A
yeah.
man powers through it.
I never, ever, ever want that to happen to me again.
Well, I'm glad we're
So we're alive and we could do this. So shouts out to being alive.
Yeah, that's part of the reason we didn't go through with our plans for today. Our original plans for today of driving on up to Scranton, out to Scranton,
The Electric
Up.
City. What?
Up to Scranton.
up to Scranton for the Blink-182 concert.
Even though we had free tickets.
For lawn seats though, so
That's a long ride
Yeah.
for Blink 182 to be
Hey.
at the end.
hey,
I'm just being the voice
don't
of
be that
reason.
guy. Don't be that guy.
I like Blink, so fuck it.
I liked them years ago.
New album's
But,
not that bad. So
I've heard it on the radio.
Fuck
I
it.
don't think it's terrible.
fuck it.
I mean, we're talking about legendary drummer Travis Barker.
I can tell the if you couldn't hear the sarcasm through the microphone.
I don't know.
Let me
I-
tell you my most eye-rolly moment ever at a wrestling event. At WrestleMania in San Francisco, when you're standing on the concourse, when you're not baking like a pizza in an oven anymore in that dog shit stadium in San Francisco where half of it's in the sun the whole day, and you're standing on the concourse trying to double fist Gatorades because you're so
And
out
Travis
of it and
Barker's
dehydrated.
playing
and
drums.
then an announcer yells, "And legendary drummer Travis Barker, legendary." The fucking dick on this guy to say legendary for Travis Barker.
Hey, don't disrespect to Travis Barker, but I think the word legendary gets thrown around a bit too often. And
Well,
I don't
we were
know
at
that I
any-
would,
When somebody says legendary drummer, you expect other names to come before
Yeah.
Travis Barker on that
Yeah.
list.
Neil-
I'd even accept Ringo fucking Starr before I'd accept
Neil-
Travis Barker.
Neil Peart from Rush.
Right?
yeah, that's a legendary drummer.
That's a
in my
legendary
opinion, yeah.
drummer.
We were. I kind of reminds me of
I don't
Saturday.
think a guy whose career started in the early '90s could be considered legendary.
Kind of reminds me of
Just
Saturday
saying.
when we were at NXT and Corey Graves comes out to do commentary and they're like NXT icon Corey Graves, and I'm thinking to myself, NXT's like 4 years old. How is anybody at icon status yet?
I could see where they're coming from with that.
No.
Can you be an
Still-
icon of a
no.
developmental territory?
Also
Can you be an
very true.
icon of something that's been around less time?
Do you want to be the icon of the developmental territory? That means you peaked at development.
He's been signed to the company longer than NXT's been around.
He's been wrestling was wrestling for a really, really long time.
Yeah, he was.
He was a really decent independent worker.
If he's an
but-
icon of NXT, I don't even want to know what he is of local Pittsburgh Indies because he probably wrestled
forever.
a lot there.
Yeah.
Well, he was also in ROH for a while, wasn't he?
Sterling James Keenan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but he wasn't.
He had
like,
appearances,
he wasn't,
but I
yeah.
would certainly not call
I
him
don't
an
think-
icon of Ring of Honor.
I don't think he was ever. I don't think he was ever under contract. But
So yeah. So if we're not going to continue on with ketchup discussion, what do we transfer into for our first topic?
Isn't that your job?
Yeah, I guess it is.
I guess it's
Um,
my job today. 'Cause,
no,
I had to
no, it's my
introduce the
job. I
show
I forgot we
and-
my
changed hosts.
I wanted
So
to.
guys, the topic of today's show is porn.
No, I wanted to.
I'm kidding. It's not porn. What
I-
was
I-
that? Was that Ham from Toy Story?
Yeah.
What is
some,
going on there?
I follow the Pizza Planet truck on Facebook. These guys built a complete replica of the truck from Toy Story.
That's amazing.
And they just post a bunch of like Pixar related stuff, so it's just some concept art that they've got on their Facebook page.
Pizzeria Planet.
And under that, Steven is apparently a fan of Jack Black's Facebook page.
I don't know why.
In case you needed to know what kind of person
Hey,
Steven was.
I've had my Facebook page for like...
Steven's favorite movie is Nacho Libre.
I've had my Facebook page for at least 10 years. Probably even longer than that. All right. So there's some things on here that I'm not necessarily truly a fan of.
You know, you could change that. You could
Yeah,
unfollow
I know.
it.
I've tried. It's not
What do you
like
mean
Jack
you've
Black.
tried?
Can I
It's
tell
just a
you
button
how?
click.
Can I tell you how
It's
many
not like
pages?
Jack Black pops up on my timeline that often, so...
I don't know. He looks like he's prepared for metal right there. He's got devil horns up. Why is he so ripped? Holy shit! He's got the largest arms I've ever seen.
I think that's when he was promoting the video game that he was in.
That's,
he was in a video game?
Hulk Hogan has the largest arms.
I don't know. Look at that picture of Jack Black and tell me those aren't some of the largest arms you've ever seen.
Those are not 24-inch pythons.
Those are fucking ripped ass arms, though. I didn't know Jack Black was capable of that. Why do celebrities do that? Post like the most lowest quality, smallest pictures on their Facebook.
So you can't steal it, or because they're not good with technology.
He's also not running it.
That too.
Probably. Well, with posts that say prepared for metal with a picture that's like at least 9 years old, I can't imagine.
So
Today's topic.
not necessarily today's topic, but something I wanted to talk about.
Things we talk about.
The short list of possible directors for the upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe film Captain Marvel have
Has it started filming yet?
surfaced, and it looks like they're down to 3 possibilities. The first being...
Stop us if you've heard any of them. That's why we're going to keep going, because even if you could stop us, we wouldn't.
The first being Nikki
We couldn't.
Caro.
I guess I should have said.
Hey,
Who?
shut the...
Tell us what they directed when you mention their names.
That's what I'm going to do.
So the first one is Nikki Caro.
Who?
Caro. She has directed The Zookeeper's Wife.
Is not a very well-known director.
Clearly.
But in Matt's opinion, apparently none of these ladies are. But
That's not even an insult to them. Like, legitimately,
It's not an insult.
nobody has ever heard of these people.
I said it's a short list of nobodies.
But
Depending on which one of them gets the job, we might know who they are come the time 2018 or whenever this movie's supposed to come out. But for now,
Let's finish the list, then I'll say what I think.
Nikki Caro is known for
Who?
films such as North Country,
what?
McFarland USA, and the Oscar-nominated Whale Rider.
Who?
Whale?
I'm just giving you the list of
What was
things
it?
that I've
Wait,
got in front of me.
which Oscar was it nominated for?
I don't know. It just says
Well,
Oscar
look it up,
nominated.
mister. You're the only one with a computer
Fine,
here.
I will pull up IMDb.
Just click
I
on Whale
will-
Rider. It's right there
Where
under
is
North
it?
Country.
Where?
Keep going. Right down. Down. There it is.
Hey, look at that.
What was it nominated for?
I don't
One.
know.
It's right there,
Where?
Steve. Clearly
I don't know
doesn't
how to use IMDb.
Are you the last person?
See more awards.
It was nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role.
Oh.
Who?
Keisha Castle Hughes.
So it wasn't,
And that was in 2004.
So it wasn't known
So
for.
that was 2 years after the movie came out.
So it wasn't nominated for directing. It was nominated for the acting.
It was still nominated, and she was the director. I didn't say it had anything
Who
to
was
do with
the
her for the
director?
nomination.
Next director.
Yeah.
Are they all females?
Yes,
Yes.
they are
Well,
all
that's good.
females,
I like.
which is,
I like that. I like
which
that
is a
idea.
positive thing.
Feels a little forced.
Eh.
Continue with the list.
I
Bro,
mean, I don't know
stop
how.
being sexist. All
It's
right.
not a sexist
Like,
thing.
let's-
I don't see why you have to pigeonhole.
Hey, you called me racist for the below the equator comment. That wasn't meant to be racist at all. So
What?
I'm not.
Steven's holding his microphone like he's like gonna sing a
Well, it's
he's gonna sing a freaking
It's because I'm
ballad here.
trying to turn back and forth. I just want to keep
I
the
think-
microphone in front of my face.
Well, continue with the list, then I'll just summarize.
Next
what my
director.
thoughts
Well, no,
are.
I have quite a few thoughts on it myself.
Yeah.
As far as being a female or whatnot. The next would be, where's the list here? Leslie Linka Glatter.
Who? What did she direct, Steve?
She's directed some TV shows, mainly
as?
just one-off episodes.
Such as?
Let's see here: Homeland, True Blood, The Walking Dead, Mad Men, and
Mad
is currently
not to be confused with Mad Men.
And is currently apparently up for Mad Men. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Sure.
She's currently nominated for an Emmy for Best Director. Let's try and pull that up real quick and see what she's nominated for.
She looks like a character in Roseanne.
That's awful.
That's not awful.
Don't say that.
Her picture.
That's not really a flattering thing to say about somebody.
Her picture looks like she would be in a '90s sitcom like Roseanne. That's all I was pointing out.
That's her professional headshot.
It looks like an old photo.
She's not trying to
I don't
look
know
like
how,
a sitcom character.
I don't know
I'm
how
not
to
saying
read this
she's
site, so
purposely
maybe you
trying to
guys
look
could
like
give me
that.
a hand here in trying to figure out what her nomination is for.
Best short film.
What did I say it was for? An Emmy? So it's got to be. It's got to be right here. Outstanding directing for a drama series
for
where
Homeland.
she is nominated for Homeland.
Madman.
Well, as far as I
for the episode "The Tradition of Hospitality."
As far as I
don't
know,
watch Mad Men.
As far as I know,
I don't watch Homeland, so forgive me for.
You
not
don't watch
knowing
either
what
of
that
those
is.
shows, so it's okay.
I don't watch much TV. That'll be a great thing when we get into our later topic.
I mean, from as far as I know, Homeland's a pretty good show. So
it's okay,
and I think it's won a bunch of awards as far as I've heard or am aware.
I wouldn't know.
So I think that's pretty good, knowing that she's nominated for directing. I think is something good. The
It's
question
apparently
is,
it's won 5 Golden Globes and 49 other awards.
I guess my other thing
out of 146 nominations.
And I guess the other thing that's good out of that, I guess, is some people might say, well, how can she translate from television to movies? But nowadays, important shows like Homeland and Mad Men and other big shows like that are basically like movies, just kind of shortened down to TV links. So I think she should be okay.
I'm trying to go through her.
So she's my front runner right now, based on what we know just from reading IMDb
She's also
pages.
done episodes of The West Wing.
West Wing was good when it was on.
What else do I see here that looks ER, Weeds, The OC.
Bunch of shows.
Gilmore Girls, a bunch of stuff that's been around.
A bunch of shows Matt apparently doesn't like.
Freaks and Geeks.
There we go.
So I mean,
she's worked with Brie Larson then probably because
NYPD Blue.
She has not changed her hair. Since
Oh wait,
Freaks
no,
and
Brie
Geeks.
Larson.
Peaks.
Brie Larson
so
was
I mean,
not on Freaks and Geeks. Excuse me.
So I mean,
Vietnam War story.
She's the most experienced, it seems, from what I've seen so far.
We don't know the last name.
We don't know the last name. Yeah.
And then the last name would be, I'm gonna butcher the hell out of this one, Lorena Scafaria?
Who?
Scafaria?
Who?
I'm gonna say it's Scafaria. I'm probably wrong on
Did you
this
guys
one.
not get mad at me a couple weeks ago when I mispronounced the one person's name from?
Yeah, but it was like Tim. Something really.
No,
simple.
it was the chick from. It's the chick that played Tim Chiru.
Oh shit!
No, it was the girl that plays Michonne. Her last name I couldn't tell if it was.
I don't know her name to
Guerra
begin with.
or Guerra or and you guys like made fun of me of it. But now
what about
Steven
that
can't
fellow?
pronounce the name.
What about
It's
that
like,
fellow during our live podcast for SummerSlam that you got his name right the first time you said it, and he applauded you for saying it properly, and then you said it again multiple times and got it wrong every time after.
No, I got it right except for the one time, and then he's like, "I'm taking your star away."
So
I don't even remember what his last name was. Shiboyega or something.
I don't know. He followed us on Instagram, though. I noticed that.
Did not
shout
follow,
out to
did
that
he,
guy.
Did he follow the page? If
I
you're
don't know.
listening, follow the page.
I don't know.
You're floating off topic.
I am. Back to the possible directors.
So what did she direct,
for
Steve?
Captain
What
Marvel?
did this lady's name direct?
Lorena
Scaffold.
Scaffold.
Scafaria is what I'm saying. She is best known for, I guess, being the writer of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. She also directed Seeking a Friend for the End of the World and is a
not a good
director on New Girl?
New Girl.
But only 3 episodes.
Which ones?
Background Check,
What year?
Basketball,
You're gonna know the names of the episodes enough to know which one
and
it is.
Quick Hardening Caulk.
Okay, I'm a big fan of New Girl.
I like the show too, but I couldn't tell you what the episode.
I couldn't
names
either,
are.
but I was actually wondering what the years were, because then I would know what seasons
1 from
they were.
2013, 2 from 2014.
So like 2 and 3. So okay, that's not bad. Those were good seasons of that show. So I think that
Those are
bodes
the
well
good
for her.
seasons where they actually figured out the formula,
yeah.
where it wasn't really so much about Zoe
Back
Deschanel.
before Coach came back.
But
we could talk about that later.
yeah,
We got
that's
fall TV coming.
But yeah,
but Seeking a Friend for the End of the World was not a fan of.
well,
Wasn't that also based off a book?
I
I might be
don't
wrong
know.
on that. So
Well, Nick and Nora is based off a book, is it not?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Did she write the book or
And
just
she wrote the
movie?
screenplay.
Okay. So it's
And she wrote Seeking a Friend.
because I enjoyed Nick and Nora.
So-
It's certainly an interesting name to be on the list because those are mostly like dramedy type
See, my
things
thing
that are
is-
on
Scroll up.
This is my thing.
It's got a 6.7.
The
on
three
IMDb.
directors that they are apparently looking at, or have narrowed it down to, all have very different backgrounds, and it seems like they're trying to figure out what type of feel they want this movie to have. So
Well, if
they've kind of like, so like one is clearly kind of like the female drama comedy route. The other is, you know, basic female comedy, and then the other's kind of somewhat, you know, just flat out drama,
Well,
almost action.
I would say
in
the
some
Homeland
aspects.
The Homeland director. I'm sorry, I don't remember names. I apologize.
It's okay, you didn't know them anyway.
Leslie Linka Glatter. Glatter. I think she's definitely the dramatic director based on The Homeland, Mad Men, and Walking Dead, everything else that she's done. But the girl that's done, or the lady that has done Nick and Nora's and everything, sounds like she's, you know, it's like indie comedy, sort of darker comedy, because like Seeking a Friend for the End of the World is kind of a dark comedy in a sense of like, you know, the whole premise of the fact that it's the end of the world, and if you know how that movie ends, it's apparently pretty dark. So yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna look this up real quick. If there's been a writer announced for Captain Marvel,
I have no clue.
I don't know. I don't.
That's
hold on, I'm
Will
gonna look
Ryder.
this up real
Have they
quick.
started filming it yet?
Don't be that guy.
TBD.
Don't be Dan.
Why was only one of those directors has Captain Marvel on their IMDb? Do they know something
it was
we
just
don't?
No, this
Click
is
on director. There
this
you go.
is-
IMDb can be
rumor.
edited by anybody.
Yeah.
So it's a Wikipedia.
They could just put it on as a rumor if they want.
True.
Apparently Meg Lavov.
That was my phone.
I'm butchering this name too. Lafave?
Lefevre?
Can you read that?
I can't see it from here.
Lafave. Lafouve.
Lefave?
We're all saying it wrong.
Yeah. And
Have your computer pronounce it for
Nicole
us.
Perlman are doing the screenplay.
Well, I mean, that
What
kind of
have
gets
they
into,
done?
That kind of gets into what I wanted to talk about it anyway.
What have they done?
It's not
Well,
so much that. It's just that I feel
Inside Out. That's a pretty big movie.
Yeah, Inside Out. She Miss Meg Lafouve, however you pronounce it. I'm very sorry if you're actually listening.
Lafouve.
I doubt that you are.
Lafouve.
But she
She's gotta be
was
French, right?
she did the screenplay, or part of the screenplay for Inside Out. Did part of the screenplay, and apparently part of the actual story for The Good Dinosaur, which is not necessarily a great thing.
Haven't seen it.
But
What's the baby dance?
where do you see that? And she was a producer on some TV movie called The Baby Dance in
Click on
'98.
I don't know what the baby dance is. Is that?
This,
Alright, this looks awful. Let's get back.
anyway.
But apparently it was nominated for 3 Golden Globes, though. So apparently it's not
I'm looking
awful.
to the other screenplay writer, Miss Nicole Perlman, who
She did stuff
I
with
guess
Guardians.
she did.
And is doing Black Widow?
She's apparently doing the treatment for Black Widow.
What is treatment? What does that mean?
It's
It's kind of like you're
Very-
making like the early formation of what
Wait
the
a
story
second.
is going to be for something before there's a script.
She's writing a
essentially.
screenplay for Pokemon?
yeah. She's apparently doing the screenplay for the live-action Pokemon too.
This is not a good thing when you
No.
see somebody who only has
Oh.
comic and video game adaptations on their. That's not.
Yeah, but if
Oh.
she's only a partial writer, I think she can nail the comic
mean,
book thing.
she-
Assuming she's doing Black Widow, she's doing Guardians of the Galaxy.
She was a
or did
writer.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
She was a writer,
Like,
an actual writer for Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think that's
so,
good
I mean,
because Guardians
that's-
is considered one of the probably the best Marvel films.
and
so.
knowing that
Guardians
these
is
two.
all James Gunn. Let's
Probably.
I'm not
yes.
saying you're wrong.
No, no.
I'm definitely not saying you're wrong there, but I think the writing had a big part to do with
It
it.
does take more than one person to make a movie, though. Let's just be honest.
No, it's all James Gunn.
But I would assume that
It's like Tommy Wiseau.
I would assume that this
Directed by James Gunn.
I would assume
Produced
that
by James Gunn. Starring James Gunn.
I would think Nicole Perlman is probably one of those.
Hatchet men.
one of those writers that is directly to Marvel, because most of her credits are Marvel-related properties.
Yeah, somebody who worked Marvel sought
so-
out and wants to put on their projects.
Where it says
But,
Mask, is that like Jim Carrey's?
That
It's
would be
probably the
no.
Hasbro
It says
one.
Mobile Armored Strike Command,
It's
so
the
we're
Hasbro
so we're not getting
universe that they're building.
so we're not getting a new The Mask.
and yeah,
exciting.
it is, because she's also doing ROM, which that's a Hasbro title, and
Hasbro's trying to interconnect all their properties finally in film.
Hasbro
Again,
the toy.
just
makers?
pointing out
yes,
that
They're making
those are all comic and toy
I'm
and
not-
video game adaptations.
hey, I'm
How do
I'm
you
not
make movies about toys.
Transformers, G.I. Joe.
Transformers.
Oh, all right. I guess I wasn't thinking.
It's the same way you
Battleship.
make-
It's about a board game.
Exactly. I
Well, yeah,
forgot they made a Battleship.
Battleship
movie.
was awful. I mean, G.I. Joe was pretty bad, and so were most of the Transformers movies.
Second
but
one
I guess
wasn't
I wasn't.
bad.
I guess I wasn't thinking G.I. Joe and Transformers fell under like the Hasbro thing. I guess I
Hell,
wasn't thinking
the cartoon for Transformers, which is probably more popular than the toys, was literally made to sell toys. So I mean,
Transformers.
but let's talk
Yeah.
about the
Veering way off topic.
So
the need for female writers and a female director.
I don't
and-
think that it's necessarily a bad thing that Marvel's pushing for diversity so much. But
Yeah.
it seems like they're very formulaic with it. Like if you look at like Black Panther,
it's all black.
It's all
And I'm
very
not-
African American.
No. It's
So the writer is, the director is.
I don't know
and
if
then you go
that's-
to Captain Marvel and they're going to go with a female director. They're going to
Yeah.
go with a female writer.
And I don't know that
DC
that's
is doing the
necessarily-
same thing.
I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing.
It's very pandering.
but it feels like it's almost pandering
they had a
at points,
chance
and
to
it
be
feels like
inclusive
it's
when they were talking about Patty Jenkins for Thor 2. And then when they booted her
They
out
did.
in favor of Alan Taylor, then they kind of gave up that chance to be inclusive.
yeah. I kind of look at it this way as it is slight pandering, but I think if you were to have a guy write the first female led Marvel movie,
Just because
or
you're a woman doesn't mean you're going to be more qualified.
No, I'm
to
not-
write
I'm
a
not saying that it
female-centric
is. I'm not
story.
saying that it
Especially when
is.
it's a comic book where
I
you
think-
already have years
But you would
upon
have-
years of whatever you need.
you
to
would
write the
have so
story
much
anyway.
unnecessary backlash just because a female lead was written by a male. And
to take
I'm not
this
saying that
conversation
it's-
in sort of a different direction. I think it's admirable and kind of a good idea to kind of get a director that people don't know, as opposed to like.
And I don't have an
just
issue with
getting-
that either. But I
getting
feel
somebody
like
for the sake of.
I feel like Marvel and
know-
DC are both trying to like outdo each other with who can.
How many
who's the most
careers can we
random-
make?
Who's the most random person we can find to make the director and writer of this movie?
And I don't disagree with that.
And they're both trying to
But
go like way
judging off-
outside the back,
judging
the
off
box for it.
Judging off the credentials of, I mean, at least two of those directors. The one kind of didn't have as much to stack up, but
Seem very qualified.
yeah.
Not even saying that they're not. It just seems like
No, I
like
get-
even
I
going
get your
like
point, yeah.
for Thor Ragnarok when they went with Taika Waititi, like no reason you would ever look at anything that he's done and think, okay, he could handle Thor 3.
well,
And they went way outside the
I think
box
it
with
was.
that.
I think it was kind of I don't want to say a stretch, but when they announced James Gunn was doing Guardians, how many people really knew who James Gunn was before that?
Well, I mean, if you're a fan of like genre work, like
true.
you would know who he is as like a horror movie fan.
Yeah.
Because that's really all that he did before that. I mean, he did
Like
Super.
that was like when
and
Sam
Slither,
Raimi-
and he was a trauma director at one point.
kind of like when Sam Raimi did Spider-Man way back when. Like he was mostly known for horror, and
Right.
then they brought him in.
Or
to
what
do
about
that,
like
and-
when they announced that Joss Whedon was doing Avengers?
Well, I think
Joss Whedon
everybody thought that
mainly
was
know-
not a great idea.
Yeah, and then it turned
I thought
out
it
to
was
be.
awesome.
I don't know if Avengers holds up as much as other Marvel films,
it doesn't
but for
hold
it to
up,
be that
but-
The first Avengers is still pretty strong.
yeah, it's still pretty strong.
But then we saw
And it
how
and it's-
bad he is at keeping an ensemble together.
Yeah.
With Ultron, like he's just.
I'm a big Joss
he can't
Whedon
do it.
fan. I'm not saying that Avengers was great. Don't get me wrong, but like I really enjoy Joss Whedon's work.
I'm not.
I think
you
he's
know,
better for television. Though,
He's
than
become
he is
such
for
an entity,
movies.
to himself that he has his
Yeah.
own tropes now. Like he's just
Yeah.
like these are things
And
that
again-
are very Joss Whedon.
And
Yeah.
again, I think he's better. I think he was better. I think he's better at making television shows than he is with movies. Honestly,
But let's also look at the Russo brothers, who have made quite possibly
Sure,
some of the best films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who
probably
are known
the best.
who are
and they're
known
only
before-
for Community.
for
That's
Arrested
not a
Development.
bad
Arrested
thing.
Development too, right?
yes.
I'm not criticizing that they're
Um,
known for two of the better shows that are out there.
But my thing is, they're not known for the type of film that the last two Captain America
really
films
outside
are.
of the box.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know that the director is really going to be that big of, not that big of a deal, but not knowing who the director is, and it being a female, or being someone that doesn't necessarily have a background in the type of thing that
I think I'll
Captain
wait
Marvel
to
is,
see.
or whatever movie it is that we're discussing. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I think I'll wait to see how, like, once it starts filming, and like how things are being shot, and like how the kind of the general consensus is going, then to start forming opinions. I think it's way too early to say. Like,
I'll certainly say
Yeah.
that I'm in no position to criticize who they're hiring, because they really haven't made
hired
too many
you?
mistakes. No,
That's true.
They haven't
That's very
made too
true.
many mistakes.
Well,
I
if
mean,
they hire him, Captain Marvel is going to fall in love with television. So
the only real director that they hired that I thought was like a slam dunk, though, is hiring John Watts for Spider-Man. I mean,
Yeah.
he has some like seriously good work out there.
By the way,
So I
have
thought
you
that he
seen
was pretty dope.
have you
but,
seen some of the stuff for Spider-Man yet?
Yeah, pretty excited.
You've seen I'm sure you've seen the concept art that they revealed at Comic-Con with the Vulture, and how he's got like almost like
he's Birdman.
they're like drone wings more than actual wings.
It's Chitauri tech.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about this already. Though.
Anyway,
Boat.
we didn't
So-
intend for this to be
Boat?
such a long time.
No,
Steven
no,
just
no,
yelled
no.
the word boat.
I don't want to.
Boats.
Boats and hose.
I want to talk
That's
somewhat
the
about
second
Donald
Step Brothers
Glover.
reference. That
Since we're talking about Spider-Man and Donald Glover, who will be in Spider-Man in some aspect, we have no idea how just yet. But apparently a cast list was leaked, and I put up quotations, air quotations when I say that.
for those of you that couldn't see at home,
I saw it.
Yeah, he saw it. He's
I
the only
didn't.
one that matters. After saying earlier he doesn't matter at all. But interestingly enough, Donald Glover's name was left off the list. Hannibal Buress's name was there. Zendaya's name was there, even though Zendaya may still be playing a secret character.
I mean, they've already announced that Donald Glover's part of the cast. I just don't think they want you to know what part he's playing at
but
this
see,
point.
this is the thing.
Also, if he's going to be like a
He's
cameo,
Spider-Man.
they might not want to lead you on to thinking he's going to be a
Well,
major role in the movie.
I'm still up in the air on the fact
He's playing
that
himself.
he plays.
He's just going to be walking down the street.
Well, he played Miles Morales in a few episodes of the cartoon.
Yes.
In the most recent incarnation of the Spider-Man cartoon.
The one with Drake Bell.
Yes, which is great if you haven't watched it.
It's not bad. No.
I've seen
It's fun. But
That's not who
a
he's
lot of
playing,
people
though.
and I think a lot of people are suspecting that he will be. My concern
We've already
is-
discussed that on here too.
Have
That-
we?
Yeah, that we thought that maybe he might be playing Miles, but he's definitely not.
Why don't we talk about
He's
the other
definitely not
roles
because he's too
getting?
old. I don't know if that's what we mentioned before.
He's
Because I
way
don't
too
necessarily
old
remember
for
talking.
what the
I think we
universe
talked
they're
about it
building
for like
is.
30 seconds. But for anyone out there that's listening to this that thinks that Donald Glover might be playing Miles Morales, you're crazy. Because
And there goes our listeners.
well, no, they are crazy because
Bye,
Spider-Man is, if I'm correct here, he's a sophomore
Yes.
in this movie, and the kid playing him is 16. If I'm not mistaken, Tom Holland.
No, he's like 19.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, he's the character of Spider-Man is supposed to be about 16.
Yeah.
Donald Glover is how old?
Much more believable than Tobey Maguire being 16.
Well, yeah,
Well-
because Tobey Maguire was like 31 when he played.
Same thing.
Plus, he
same
wasn't-
thing with Andrew Garfield.
Plus, he wasn't in high school in the Tobey Maguire films.
Yes, he was.
For like 30 seconds.
Yeah, in the very beginning. That's it.
Yeah. But
Oh, that's right. He was
But
a
Donald
senior
Glover
when
is-
they graduated.
is what, early 30s?
He's not young anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point. He's not young enough to be playing a character that's the same age, or possibly, I think Miles is even younger than Peter.
We brought it up last time because we were saying that you shouldn't believe the hype that he's
Yeah.
going to play Miles. Because
But,
the rumor at that point was that he was going to play the Tinkerer, and we know now that he's not playing the Tinkerer because they cast that role officially at this
Yeah,
point.
and then there's
My
also
guess is that he's playing Smythe because he
I-
can fit that part.
He's
I'm-
32.
well, when they also announced Hannibal Buress was part of the the casting.
You're
Everyone
welcome.
was like, "What?" And now it seems like Hannibal Buress is just playing like the high school coach.
He's gonna be like a cop or a coach or something.
Yeah,
Hannibal
so
Buress-
it's just like,
Hannibal Buress doesn't play big roles in movies though. That's
No,
not
he's
his
like
thing.
well, no, that's
side
not what I'm
role.
saying.
Like he was
Always.
a B in The Nice Guys.
But it's a very interesting person to cast in a Spider-Man film.
It's
Tell me I'm wrong.
He's probably not. He's probably going to be in it for like 5 minutes. He's probably not even going to be in it that long till a point where
We'll
it really
see.
matters.
I think it's interesting that that the whole cast list or most of the cast list was leaked. I mean,
Speaking of Donald
just
Glover,
about everyone was on there. We'll get to that in a second. I also want to talk about the other interesting thing from this cast list. A character being named Cindy.
The
Lauper?
the Silk Tease.
Yes, the Silk Tease, the possibility of Cindy Moon. I'm going to look up the actress who is in that role.
Did you say June Moon?
No, I said Cindy Moon.
The Enchantress?
What is
No.
a Jew moon?
I believe
Not a
that
Jew Moon. June Moon.
Oh, see, that's not what I heard.
I believe that part of this is assumption on people's parts. Because
Well, I mean, when
have
you've got
a younger Asian actress named Cindy,
yeah.
and they're like, oh, well, in the comics it was an Asian girl named Cindy, and she was Silk, so it has to be Silk, correct?
I mean, it's
Well, duh.
it's not a far-fetched idea knowing that. Hold on, real quick. The actress is Tiffany Espenson.
We should put
Tiffany
a disclaimer.
Espenson.
Put a disclaimer before every episode that we cannot pronounce names.
But do either of you have an idea of Silk or her origin?
Yeah,
Nope.
sort of.
Okay, well, she was bitten by the same spider
Yeah.
that bit Peter. So for them to be, if they're going to introduce the
Oh, shit.
character, it makes sense for them to introduce her while everybody's
Is she
still
a
young, while
good
it's
person or a
relevant.
bad person?
She was held captive, from what I remember, from her first issue, and kind of was hidden under lock and key for years, and then Peter found her or something, spider senses or some crap, and
Just
she got
comic book
released out.
bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just comic book BS, and yeah, but she's a hero.
It's a fun character.
Yeah, and I would love to see Silk portrayed in a film,
I have
or at
no
least set up the possibility.
I have no reason not to want to see it. I mean, why
Exactly.
not? I mean, at this point, the Spider-Man universe, they're supposed to be, like 8 months out from when Peter got bit at this point? So
Yeah.
why not do it now?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have another young, diverse female star in the Marvel universe.
Yeah. But back to Donald Glover, as Dan would like to speak about.
Why? He isn't doing anything else
Dan-
that's relevant whatsoever.
Nope, nothing at all, right, Dan?
Wrong you are, my friend. Wrong you are.
Sherrod, you are.
What?
So, Dan, want to share the Donald Glover news for those who may not know already?
Guys, he's in a TV show.
Going to. Well, he's been in a TV show. Yes.
Yeah, but he's in a new one, Dan.
Not yet. Not yet.
About to be.
It's coming out on FX.
Soon.
But I don't think that's the news
That's
Dan
not the
wants
news I wanted to
put out
share.
there.
Shut up, Matt. Well, yes, Donald Glover is going to be in a new show coming out on FX soon called Atlanta, which I would like to
think
discuss
I'm
a
very
little
excited
bit.
for. We'll get to that in a minute, though.
But he is being cast as young Lando
What?
in the Han Solo origin film. Don't act surprised. We talked about this before the show, you asshole.
I'm trying to build suspense. That's all.
I'm really excited for
So
this,
if you didn't
actually.
know that
Who's
already,
have they cast the actual Han Solo role yet?
that I don't know.
Erdenreich,
Who?
I believe.
Heidenreich?
Alden Erdenreich,
Hyde.
something like
Would
that.
I know him from
Right.
anything?
He's cast.
Would I
Yes.
know him from anything?
Nothing big.
The Han Solo origin film.
The Han Solo origin film. He is cast, though. You can correct me on the name if you want to look it up. but
I'll look that up later.
Alden
I'll correct you on the
Ehrenreich,
name. Yeah,
something like that,
exactly.
yeah.
I'll correct you on the name on all the names I've already butchered already.
So how do you
tonight.
guys feel about Donald Glover being cast as that? Like, how do you feel about him as an actor in general?
I love Donald Glover, and I'll be interested to see how true to Lando they stay. If it's gonna be like,
Is he a
hip-
coward?
if it's gonna be like, hey, I'm Lando Calrissian, baby, like that kind of thing.
Hey,
Like
I don't
like
remember
the
him ever jive talking in Star Wars.
no, like the robot chicken type Lando Calrissian. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I did. It's massively disappointing that that's where you decided to go with this.
No,
You
but I mean,
racist.
it'll be but Donald Glover. I guess I don't want to call him a comedic actor, even though that's mostly what he's known for. But he's known for some drama stuff. If I'm wrong, please correct
Yeah,
me.
he was in The Martian.
Yeah, he was in The Martian. He had a very kind of a sort of small role in that though. So he doesn't have a ton of screen time, but he's in that.
He is sort of like the MacGuffin in the movie, though. Like he leads to them figuring out.
Oh yeah,
where
his
Space
role
Matt Damon is.
his role his space Matt Damon. His role is important. It's just not very big in that movie. But I think he does well in that.
But it's not a comedic role,
No,
is what I'm getting
serious
at.
role.
Well,
so
I mean, he's a weird guy, but
he has
it's a
some
serious
comedic
role.
aspects to his character, but it's not used in a comedic way.
so then, this will probably be. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be a more comedic role, or I don't know?
gonna
It's
be
Star
smooth.
Wars. I think it's going to be
Just like Lando, just
Yeah.
like Billy. Smooth.
I think it'll be interesting to see at least.
I think it'll be interesting.
I've been
to
very
see.
skeptical about this film since they announced it, but
I think I'm intrigued to see kind of where Donald Glover's acting ability goes beyond the comedy. Simply for the fact that like I'm so used to watching, like when it comes to acting, I'm so used to watching him on Community,
Sure.
and he was a very specific role on
You know
Community
what I just
that
realized?
was 100% comedy.
you know what I just
and
realized? Him being in Spider-Man keeps with the Community characters or actors being in Marvel films.
That the Russo brothers direct. That's the connection.
Who else?
Yeah, but it's
Who
John
still,
Watts is not directed
no, but it's
any
Wait.
episodes of Community.
it's still a connection.
Wait, remind me of who else?
Fuck
what's
it.
his face? Dean Pelton was in Civil War.
He was
Who is Donald Glover's buddy?
Jim Rash.
No,
The Middle Eastern
Abed
kid,
was
No.
in.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yes.
No, Jim Rash was not the person that Steven
Yeah,
was
Dean
referring to.
Pelton.
Dean Pelton, and I was just saying that was his name.
But
for those of you wondering,
I don't know. I
I
just
love Jim
think that's
Rash. I think he's
interesting.
great. He's
I
done
don't
some
know.
directing and stuff too.
So
Plus, not to kind of go off that, but you mentioned Community. What was it? The whole Dan Harmon's doing something now.
yeah,
for
that's
Doctor
the next
Strange.
thing I wanted to get into was talking about Dan Harmon writing additional
I mean,
scenes
speaking of
for
Community,
Doctor Strange.
It
I
doesn't
wonder
get-
how he got that job, Steve.
It doesn't go more Community than Dan
Because he's
Harmon.
literally be one of the most insufferable people in Hollywood. I wonder how he got that job.
Hey.
Do you think it's through his friends?
Hey, don't you dare hate on Dan Harmon. He's
I'm
hilarious.
I'm not hating on him. I'm literally speaking.
You just said he was insufferable. I think that's
That is
pretty
a
much
Kurt
considered
Hawkins
hating.
fact.
I think it's pretty much considered hating.
He
that
is
call someone
widely
insufferable.
hated.
So, are you a Dan Harmon fan, Matt?
I love Community.
Do you like
Don't
Rick
really
and Morty?
care so much for Rick and Morty.
Really?
It's fucking all over the place.
I think that's the
I think
appeal
that's
to it,
kind of
though.
the point of the show.
But
though.
let me ask this: Do you guys find it strange that Dan Harmon is writing scenes for reshoots of Doctor Strange?
No, I don't.
depending on how much comedy there's involved. No,
I would assume that the original
Now, I don't know
Scott
anything-
Derrickson version of the movie, based upon what he's done, probably didn't have a lot of comedy in it. And now,
So do you
based
think that's why he
upon
was
the
brought in?
whole, oh, DC's not very funny, and Marvel's getting too serious now. Now everybody's obsessed with we need to add more comedy to our movies.
So you think he was brought in to add some
yeah, so
comedy
they're
in
gonna
there?
bring this prick in to fucking add some comedy scenes.
hey, hey, you said you weren't hating.
I'm not hating. I'm
You
stating
called him
facts.
insufferable. Now he's a prick. I think that's the definition of hating.
Find me somebody in Hollywood that would disagree.
But see, I don't know anything about not Dan Harmon. I don't know anything about Doctor Strange.
He's
So I
not a
can't
funny
really-
character.
No,
I can't
but,
comment on this as much as you guys probably could. I don't.
But I mean, it wouldn't be the
not a-
first time that
I don't like Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm not a big Cumberbatch fan either.
That's
But
a
it
really
wouldn't be
dumb
the first
opinion.
time that they're. Well, I don't.
Well, fuck you too, Matt.
I don't like him for political reasons, but
What?
we won't get into that.
You hate his political affiliation?
No, I mean,
Do you not like the Whig Party? He's British.
no.
I just think he's boring.
Just some of the things he's
I really
outspoken
do.
about. I don't.
The hell he's boring.
What's he outspoken about?
I'm not going to get into it on our show because that's not the topic.
What's he outspoken about?
Do you not like his stance with like PETA?
I don't like his stance with certain things, and I'm not going to get into it.
Well, you already got into it.
No, you got into it.
You did start it.
You mentioned
said that
it.
you had an issue.
I
Now
said
I'm
I don't like
curious.
Cumberbatch. Moving on.
What does he say? Tell us.
He doesn't like our podcast. There, you have me.
No.
I'm not talking about it. It's not a topic.
Then why'd you
fine,
even
I'll-
bring it up?
Because I said I don't like.
I'll fucking look it up.
I Because all I did was
say Steve doesn't like
why. I'm just gonna literally Google search why is Benedict Cumberbatch a jerk.
Let me see if you actually put that in.
I'm not.
But I don't know. It wouldn't be the first time Marvel's added comedy to a character that's not typically funny.
It doesn't need to happen.
No, it doesn't. You're right. But I think there's going to
didn't need to be funny either.
But Ant-Man was great. Tell me you didn't like Ant-Man. Say it.
I did like the movie.
Okay. So
it didn't need to be funny though to be taken seriously.
But I think they were trying for it not to be taken too seriously. Plus, I think when you have these movies that are really like kind of stretching and reaching at audiences that I actually stretched out and reached, that are doing these things,
grabbing
too,
you, audience,
that are really out there, like an Ant-Man, like a Doctor Strange, and then you have these other Marvel films that have this comedic element to it. I think people are going to come in expecting that, and I think in order to keep a majority of the audience that's not these diehard comic book fans or these people who know these characters and love these characters outside of these films, that you need to keep some of that element of comedy in there.
You know who's saying F you to that philosophy?
You?
DC Films.
True.
We don't give a shit if you like comics or not. Like, they're just like, we're just going to make whatever movie we want, and it doesn't matter to me who likes it or who doesn't.
But, in other Doctor Strange news, I guess we've technically got the word that Dormammu will be in the film.
I got nothing for that.
Really?
What are you going to say about it?
Well, I think it's interesting, especially along the lines of...
That is his basically number one villain, essentially.
Well, it's kind of interesting that
Baron
they're going to...
Mordo is more of kind of like an anti-hero.
Throw it out there.
That's how they're kind of playing him in the film.
It's interesting that they're going to throw him out there in the... what I assume will be the first of at least 2 Doctor Strange films.
Not if you had any say in it, right?
What? I don't know. I'm still very skeptical about this movie.
I can't figure out why he hates Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's just great. Moving on.
I can't figure it out.
I'm excited for Doctor Strange. I'm excited for Doctor Strange, but I think it's not going to be one of those movies that registers with the audience as well as every other Marvel movie has.
You know what I'm excited for?
What?
Fall television.
Well, we'll get to that in about 30 seconds. Dan, thanks for hitting the microphone.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
What are we at time-wise, guys?
That's what I was just asking.
57 minutes.
Holy hell.
Hey.
Stop touching me, Elmo.
I don't even know what's on behind me.
South Park. There's a South Park episode on behind you.
So okay, then let's talk about fall television.
I'm
what
learning
we're excited
some fascinating things about Benedict Cumberbatch right now.
Such as?
Benedict Cumberbatch spent a year with Tibetan monks and makes fun of Christmas. But is utterly ambiguous about his own faith. He's liberal. He apparently supports the welfare state.
He apparently got abducted in...
But he doesn't like it when people make fun of him for being rich.
What are you on? What are you looking at?
Some blog.
Benedict Cumberbatch FYed.tumblr.com.
No.
Back to Donald Glover, though. He's also, like we mentioned, going to be in a show called Atlanta, which I believe premieres I believe it's September 6th.
Can I say that I'm really kind of excited for that show?
It's about 2 cousins that...
I guess I can't.
2 cousins that are kind of breaking into the Atlanta rap scene and like trying to kind of find their way. I think it's not autobiographical, but I think it kind of has some roots in like some of like his own kind of...
he's not from Atlanta, right?
I think he is from Atlanta. I think that's kind of the reason it takes place there.
Let's find out.
But I think it's
the internet at our fingertips.
I think a bit of it comes from kind of like his own, kind of breaking into rap himself, although he was an actor before he was a rapper. So kind of I think some of it kind of comes from there. And he's
from Edwards Air Force Base. That's where he was born.
That just means he's a military brat. That doesn't mean anything about where he was raised.
That's true.
Click on his Wikipedia, Steve. And apparently he's saying that it is kind of like he wants it to be the Twin Peaks of kind of like, I guess, that genre of television shows, like rap and stuff.
That literally doesn't sound like
He was
anything
raised in.
I was on
guess
board
this
until
one.
you just told me that.
You're not a big fan of Twin Peaks?
I love Twin Peaks.
Let's
For somebody to say something so idiotic as I want to make the Twin Peaks of the rap TV show genre,
That's an awkward.
that's
comparison.
literally
I don't
one of
think it
the
was
dumbest
quite-
things I've ever
I don't
heard
think it was.
somebody say.
I don't think it was quite
But
that.
he
said it's like
was
Twin Peaks with
raised-
rappers.
Yo, boys,
basically, is
guys,
how he was
We're
quoted.
debating.
Gentlemen.
We're just talking.
I've
He said
trying
it's,
to
he said
answer
it's
a question
Twin
that was.
Peaks with rappers. So not.
So it's
Twin-
gonna be a weird fucking show.
Yeah, it's something that I'll probably watch one episode of and bail out.
to answer the question,
getting good reviews.
raised in.
That doesn't mean anything.
Stone
Stranger
Mountain,
Things is
Georgia.
getting good reviews.
Have you watched it?
I did watch the whole thing.
And?
Whoa!
You
wait.
didn't like Stranger Things?
So boring.
What?
All right, Matt Barnes does not reflect
Matt-
the views and opinions of the Deep Six podcast.
Matt just hates things to hate them. It sounds.
That's not true. That show is literally so boring.
I really
Nothing
think.
happens.
How about this? How about we?
Nothing happened.
All right, since
There's a
we've all seen
3-episode
it,
stretch where I just watch
Guys,
Winona Ryder fucking
yo,
stare at lights.
listen to me, damn it,
Nothing happens. Apparently.
guys. I think that is the next episode of our show because Dan just
Oh,
finished
so
it.
so we're gonna talk about it like 2 months after it was relevant.
No,
No, because people literally can't let this go. They're going to talk about it till it's not popular anymore.
Fine.
I think
Tune
that's
in 2 weeks when we talk about Stranger Things
but
and
until
how
then,
big of an asshole Matt is.
until then, let's keep up with the fall TV discussion.
What's kind of on your radar? What are you looking forward to, Steve?
Nothing,
I already know.
Nothing new.
The only
I
show
don't
he watches ever.
see. Well, up until
Cough, Agents of Shield.
well, Agents of Shield is definitely on my radar. It
Cough.
always is. But
So bad.
up until
that I agree with.
oh my god, let me finish my thought. Fuck. Up until
Matt, what show are you looking forward to?
up until last fall, I wasn't much of a TV guy until I got hit by a car and was pretty much
Had nothing
unable to do
but
anything
watch
with my life.
television.
I also don't have cable, so I'm kind of one of those guys that once something comes to Hulu or Netflix is when I watch it.
Guys,
but-
did you just see this brand new episode of Breaking Bad?
But I've never been much of a TV guy, but I keep up with Agents of Shield because I'm a Marvel guy.
Yawn.
I'm interested in the new X-Men show that's coming out though.
Pass.
Really?
That's a hard pass.
Really?
The only thing that slightly tempted me about watching it is because I believe Dan Stevens is the lead actor in it.
That's
Nah.
weird.
I like
What's
Dan
it called?
Dan-
It's
Stevens a
called
lot.
Legion, right?
Dan
Yeah.
Stevens.
That's a great name.
I mean, for people who don't know, Dan Stevens was in The
Is-
Guest,
is not a combination of me and Steve.
directed by Adam Wingard. It's Wingard and Barrett made it. And
Now
he is
now
also
you're
supposed
just
to be, I
speaking
believe,
gibberish.
he is supposed to be in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
I
what
believe he
is
plays the
that?
Beast.
The new Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, I'm
Yep,
pretty
it
sure
is
he plays
starring
the
Dan
Beast.
Stevens. Aubrey Plaza's in it? What?
Oh, I'm gonna watch.
That doesn't make it watchable.
I didn't
Yes,
say that it
does.
I didn't say that it did.
Actually,
but
she's
it's-
not a great actor, but she's.
I didn't
very
know that she
cute.
was in it.
She's
Apparently
she's good when she stays in
a
her wheelhouse.
star in it.
Yeah, when she stays in her wheelhouse,
I would
she's
think
hilarious,
that putting her in this is probably going to put her out of her wheelhouse.
What's this show?
It's called Legion. It's
Is it comics?
it's
Like
based on
superheroes?
it's based on a Marvel property. It's being tied to the X-Men.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they already kind of sort of used the character. in a
Have
way.
they?
Wasn't
I haven't
wasn't
watched a
in-
lot of the X-Men
Wasn't
films.
in X-Men 2, wasn't Stryker's son basically supposed to be a version of Legion?
Virgin.
A version, well, he was a virgin too, but wasn't he supposed to be a version of Legion?
I don't know.
I don't necessarily remember. I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of the X-Men films.
Let's
At least
move.
the first.
let's move on
The
from
first one was
X-Men.
okay. The second one was, and then the third one we're not even going to talk about.
What about New Girl?
Go ahead, Dan. Talk about it.
Matt likes New Girl too.
I do like New Girl. It's a good show.
Are you
But I didn't
looking
get to
forward-
finish talking about Legion, but that's cool.
I am looking forward to it because Zoe Deschanel is back this season.
She is for full time, not just like 5.
Wait,
episodes.
it's her show and she wasn't on.
She was
She
not
was
on
having-
last
she was
season because she was
pregnant.
having her kid.
Yeah.
So how do you have a whole show that's based around
They
She was-
used
basically her
Megan Fox
character
last season.
She was on jury duty, so
Yeah.
she had to be sequestered
for a
so-
whole season?
No,
the way
it was
they,
like
the
it
way
was
they
like
used it
8
in the plot, though,
episodes.
was perfect.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. And Megan Fox came in and kind of played like
Yeah,
the
she like
female role.
subletted her place in the
It
apartment.
wasn't bad. It actually
Weird.
was
To
kind of
Megan
entertaining.
Fox.
And you were able to. I thought it
Wait,
really
was
worked.
Megan Fox entertaining?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I think it really
How do
worked
we
on the
feel
strengths
about
of.
Megan Fox, gentlemen.
I think she was
good-looking.
good in New
What
Girl.
was that?
I mean,
She's good looking.
I'm not gonna pretend like she's a great actress, but like I didn't hate.
She's
Do
a
we
great
feel
April.
she's come?
I
Do
didn't.
we feel she's
Look.
come along since her early days of?
I didn't hate Jennifer's Body. I thought it was a kind of dumb.
I hated it.
I thought it was kind of like a dumb horror movie that like is fun to watch, like if you're not taking it seriously.
What about TMNT?
Fuck that movie.
I liked both of them a lot.
And I thought she was good in New Girl. I thought as a comedic actress, I thought she
Varied
was pretty good.
opinions on this show.
Oh wait. But no, back to like we were discussing about Zooey Deschanel being off for half the season. I thought it really let the other characters and the other actors really kind of shine. I'm a big fan of the guy that plays Nick. I can't think of his name at the moment.
Jake Johnson.
Yeah, I think he's pretty funny.
think
Your brain is literally an
Winston-
encyclopedia of actors.
Winston.
What?
Your brain is just the encyclopedia of actors and everything.
Right,
you've
like
been
I'm
in. You're
just
like
really,
there.
really into film
And
on
Winston,
TV.
and Winston, I think is hilarious. So the more Winston, the better.
I think that show is at its best when it's not focused on her, even though it's her show, and that's how it was designed.
definitely
like
agree
the whole
with you.
first season was not that great because it was focused on her. But
And
then
when
they
it came
kinda
out with
branched
the
it
second
out.
season,
Yeah.
and
I
it was more
agree.
about everybody around her.
Yeah. It's
It
so
was-
funny
I haven't-
too.
I haven't
There's
watched
just so
a
many
lot of it.
episodes where like
Yeah.
I'm just cracking up at like just the dumb shit, and it's just one of those. It's like if for those of you who've never watched New Girl, but if you have watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's basically
They're
like
doing a
Brooklyn
crossover
Nine-Nine.
They're doing a
episode.
crossover
They are,
episode.
and I'm so
Yeah.
much looking
But
forward to that.
I haven't really watched a whole lot of it. I tried to watch it the first season, and I kind of had the same
first
sentiments
season
as
is
you
very
guys.
weak, but then when you get to the second season,
It's
it
so
really picks
funny.
up well.
Yeah, and I
so
kind of
damn
just
funny.
didn't have the
Once they
desire
start
to
kind
watch
of playing
it after the
off
second
that,
season.
once they start playing that Nick and Jess dynamic too, it like really kind of picks up. Too,
What was
I
the
think.
episode you were watching the one night where he's making the sauce and he's just putting everything in the sauce?
Yeah, Nick's
literally everything.
Nick's making sauce and he's just putting like mustard and mayo and like
He was
just-
putting everything
like-
in there, like bologna.
Yeah.
and like
and then
like-
everybody's like, "This is gonna be disgusting,"
All
and, then,
random
and like it
crap.
has to be continuously stirred throughout the day, and then they actually sit down and eat it. They're like, "This is the best thing I've ever had."
Jake
in my
Johnson
life."
is like a really fantastic actor too.
What else has he
Really,
done?
really good.
He
He's
was
in Jurassic World.
Wasn't he-
plays
Yeah, I
like
haven't
the
seen
computer
it.
tech guy.
Yeah, he's in that. Wasn't he in?
He's in Safety Not Guaranteed,
yes,
he
he
in-
is,
which is
you're right.
really fucking
Wasn't
good.
he in a movie
Yeah.
with Brie Larson? Was it Short Term 12 or whatever?
That's
Was he in
Short
that?
Term 12 is John Gallagher is the lead actor in
okay,
it.
you're right. You're right. It's not Jake Johnson.
And I
Hold
know
on.
a lot of stuff that he's into that he's really good in.
Oh yeah, he's great too.
He's in 10 Cloverfield Lane. He plays
is.
Haven't
Emmett.
seen it.
And
So
he's in a
it-
movie
So is Mary
about like an
Elizabeth
online
Winstead
relationship, which is really good too. John Gallagher is really awesome.
Hey, any
else
other
is Jake
fall TV
Johnson
we're
in?
looking forward to, guys?
I don't really watch that many shows week to week.
I mean, I guess Brooklyn Nine-Nine too.
Eh.
I'm a
New
big
season of
guess.
South Park on September 14th.
Are we still watching South Park?
I watch it all the time. It's one of the smartest
But you
shows on
can play-
television.
I guess it keeps relevant.
The
yeah,
fact,
I guess.
the fact that
It
they
stays
I mean, you
relevant
give me
because of
shit
how they
for
make
watching
the
The
show.
Simpsons. So.
the fact that they
The Simpsons is not a good show.
No,
I
it's
like The
not.
Simpsons. I'm sorry.
the fact that they are able to literally put stuff that happened days before into the episodes is crazy.
Well, that's
to me.
because they don't make it
Like-
the same way they used to make it. It's all digital now. It's not actual.
Well, it's not even just that too. It's like
it's
if
just
anybody
crazy.
questions like how they stay so relevant, like go watch the special that Comedy Central made about the making of South Park, the 7 days to air episode.
I'm not questioning how they
It's
stay
amazing
relevant, but
how
I'm
they stay
saying
so relevant all the time.
I guess it's because it's one of those shows that's been on for so long, and I'm just kind of surprised people are still watching.
Well, they've
it.
gone from so stupid with their storylines to now it's just all satire. Just
Yeah.
making fun of people and what people are into
Yeah.
and PC culture. All of last
Are they
season
doing a
was about
Pokemon
PC
Go
culture.
episode? Have they announced that yet or not?
They didn't
I'm
announce
sure
what
they
any of the new
will.
episodes are about, but you would think they would have so much to talk about with like the presidential election and Pokemon
I'm
Go
hoping
and
there's
all
a
this other
Pokemon
shit.
Go episode. Please let there be a Pokemon Go episode.
There's gonna be.
Because they
those
made,
are people I want to
They
hear
were
talk
known
about
for
it,
making
too.
fun of Pokemon back in the day too, weren't they?
Season 3 episode, Chimpokemon.
Yes, exactly.
Pokemon.
So there's got to be a Chin Pokemon Go episode, please, for the love
That'd be
of
so
God.
good. I'd love to hear
If-
Chimpokemon come back.
If that's not a thing that's happening, they're missing out. What? Dan pointing to his wrist. Time. 1 hour and 9 minutes. You got somewhere to be?
I was gonna say it's clobbering time, but okay.
Aside from that, I watched The Flash, and I passive aggressively watch Gotham.
I gave up on Gotham.
It's not a very good show.
I
It
need
was
to
too-
go
it be-
back
it
and
started
give it a
to
chance, but
When it was like when they started reaching with who certain characters might be, and then
yeah.
they killed off that kid that everybody thought was the Joker, but now they're
But
bringing
now they're bringing him
back.
back.
Like, how do you
me,
kill
that
somebody?
sounds-
probably because
like-
he was so popular.
To me, that sounds like
fuck it.
pandering.
Yeah,
right?
it really
Like,
feels like pandering. And then
because
like
he was so popular with fans.
and
Can I
then
tell you
Barbara
something?
Gordon is like fucking nuts
As
and a
cool-
lesbian.
As
Well,
much
it
as
is
I
like that.
It is like an
It's
Elseworlds. Like this is like
I
an
guess.
alternate reality. Like I feel like the fix for Gotham at this point is just make Gordon Batman.
As much
and that's
as I
the fix
like-
for the show.
as much
Yeah.
as I like comic
Because at
book
this point, it
related
doesn't
stuff,
matter.
as much as I like comic book related stuff, I just feel like we're becoming oversaturated with it at this point.
Well, that's why it's all
like,
going to crash.
You're crazy.
Like,
No,
See,
he's definitely not.
I
crazy.
think we're oversaturated with the superhero aspect of comic books. In
What other story are we
mainstream
going to
media.
tell?
there's a
I mean-
lot. There's a lot on the way.
I mean,
I guess I
obviously,
just mean like there's just
AMC
so
is
much.
telling different
Like
comic
literally,
book stories,
literally, we
but-
just talked about all those movies.
Look at Preacher. Look at Outcast.
We
Those
just
are
talked-
two shows that are getting
we just
a
talk-
lot of acclaim.
we just talked
Preacher's
about
really good.
we just talked about all those movies. Now we're talking about Flash, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Gotham. Then you were talking about Legion and this new X-Men show that are
Yeah, but I
coming
think
in.
we
but
and
I
then
think we were
out
doing,
of the three of us, I think the majority rules aspect of this, we both agree.
Yeah,
that
it's-
No,
Agents
I-
of Shield is really bad. Gotham's really bad.
Oh, that's what I'm
Well,
saying. I
Agents
think
of
there's
S.H.I.E.L.D.
just so much
Hey,
of it. That,
I'm not
like,
going to sit here and
it's
act like
not
Agents of
good.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is the best show on TV.
You do.
But I don't. It's just
No,
I watch
he
it because I
fully
like
admitted that he's just into the show because it's a Marvel show.
mostly I like Clark Gregg a lot too. I'm not gonna lie, I like Clark Gregg a lot.
He has
But,
posters of him all over his room.
The fix for that is just to add him back into the movie universe and just cut the shitty show.
I guess
Just pretend like
But
he
I-
didn't die.
I
Just
also
have him
like-
show up and
I
everybody
probably,
just pretend
I
like
probably
he's been there the
will
whole
watch
time.
the show this season because they're doing Ghost Rider. So
Plus,
I'll probably watch it.
they're also
but-
saying that they're going to go more towards the tone of the Netflix series now, which I don't think
well,
could be
if
a
they're-
bad
If they're
thing.
using Ghost Rider, you would think it's going to be darker.
Yeah, I would hope so.
There's also a rumor that there's going to be like a giant cameo in the first episode.
Good, let there
Which I'm guessing is going to be
Let
like.
fucking Tony Stark show
I'm
up.
guessing that's either going to be
Spider-Man.
Tony Stark or.
Spider-Man's going to be in the first episode.
I'm still guessing it's going to be Chris Evans.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Spider-Man.
Because
I-
Chris
I'm
Evans
kind of
really doesn't want to
upset-
play Captain America anymore, but I think he would do it for that
I
because
think-
it's like a 5-minute thing.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. All right, where I really lie with this whole Chris Evans doesn't want to be Captain America thing anymore.
Well, we've talked about this already.
You and I have talked about
Yeah.
it off the show, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah.
But if it goes, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. goes the way of the Netflix stuff, then there's no way it can't be at least watchable. I mean,
I'm all for more comic properties if they're done more the style of
But-
the Netflix shows.
but we're also doing
But I'm
things
tired
like
of the campy, hammy shit.
Oh, yeah,
like
I agree.
Gotham and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was. I mean,
Yeah.
if it changes tone, I'm all for it, but I don't
But,
really see the campy stuff anymore.
we've got guys like Matt Fraction who's been signed to write television.
Sounds like a wrestler.
No, Matt Fraction
Sounds
is,
like a video game action hero.
Matt Fraction is a very well acclaimed comic book writer.
I know who he is.
Heavily
I'm just-
known for
it's fun to make fun of the
Hawkeye
name.
in mainstream comics and the great hit of Sex Criminals. But Sex Criminals has been optioned for TV. If you've read that, you know that that's not superheroes. That's about two people who have sex, and when they orgasm, they freeze time and they rob banks.
That's my kind of superhero.
And then there's The
I know
Wicked
that-
and the Divine that's been optioned for TV, which is written by Kieran Gillen and art by Jamie McKelvey, who are a comic book super creative team who have done a lot together, which is about the reincarnation every 9 years, I think it is, of these young gods who get to live for 2 years, and they become, it becomes like a thing. And
So it's
there's
basically it's Hancock.
fuck you. But it's I think if you also go back and look at a lot of things,
Isn't there a scene in Hancock where he like literally orgasms through the roof of his trailer?
That's correct.
I haven't seen the film.
I haven't
just
either.
know
I
it's
just
bad.
know that that's a scene.
But
That happened.
if you go back and you look up comic book properties, I think you'd be really surprised to find out what's a comic book property that you didn't know was a comic book
No,
property.
of course. I mean,
I meant more that directed towards Dan, but maybe the audience at home who's not big into comics.
I was even going to say that, like, I know Telltale made the game, but I would even want to see, like, Fables. like
Yeah.
The Wolf Among Us. I
Yeah.
want to see that as a show rather than just the Telltale game.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be an interesting
not hard-pressed
show
to
for
agree
like
with you there.
Showtime to do, where you can
Yeah.
do it kind of dark and just
Yeah,
attack
definitely.
it. I mean, it would have to be dark because it's a pretty dark comic.
But fall TV. Is there anything else?
Not that I can
Anything
think
at
of.
all?
Not really, no.
I mean, we've got Luke Cage. Anybody excited for
I guess
that?
that's technically fall TV, right?
I mean,
We're,
September
a little
30th.
over-
More
a little over a month.
comics. Oh God, more.
I'm sorry, Dan.
comics.
My that's what my life is
I'm
comic
just saying,
books.
I can't believe there's this many comic shows. Like, how do you guys keep up?
Again, I think
I
I'm
watch a
all
lot of
for-
TV to begin with, and I don't watch any of these shows.
I am all for more comic-based shows that are shot like Netflix is shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm okay with that too. I'm just saying, like, I can't believe that there's this many of them. And, like, I know that there's this many of them. I'm just like, when you keep listing off, you're like, well, we got, like, this, and then we got this. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, when do they just reach a point where it's like, all right, save some shit, or, like, hit
see,
the
that's-
button and, like, this is too much. Like,
Well, no offense.
too many
I mean,
cooks, man. Like, too many cooks. Like,
When you're
it takes a
drawing
lot
in,
to make a stew.
when you're drawing in as much money as these properties do, though.
No, I get that.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say, oh yeah, pump the brakes a little bit. Like,
I just think it's so much. Like I said, I watch so much television on my own, and the fact that you guys say that there's all these shows about comics and comic book characters that I'm
The
just
other
not
thing
watching,
is-
it's
I
like,
think
how the hell am I supposed
Netflix
to
kind of
keep
changed it
up
though,
with
where
that?
you can binge watch one whole show in a night and just be like, okay, I'm done. I watched all 13
But see, I think
episodes,
the
and
other
then you're not
thing
going to see
is-
it again for
Unless
a year.
they're hour-long episodes,
I
then
think
it's
the-
like,
No, I
other
still
thing
watched
is-
Daredevil season 2 in like a day.
yeah,
I don't have that much.
I
As
think
soon
the
as it
other
came out, I
thing
watched the whole thing.
is that mainly Marvel with these comic book titles are trying to make them not feel like comic book films. They kind of take on their own idea, and Jessica Jones, when I watched that on Netflix, it didn't feel like a comic book thing. It felt like, a suspenseful drama. I feel like Luke Cage is going to feel completely different. I feel like Daredevil feels like a crime, almost cop drama, So it's I think these shows and these comic book films and
so much
movies and whatnot.
happens in that tiny little section in New York City.
Hell's Kitchen,
Hell's
5-block
Kitchen,
radius.
where all the action is.
Yeah.
So much.
But yeah, I think we've hit an hour and almost 17 minutes here. All right, you guys want to keep going?
That's your fall TV preview.
Do you guys want to keep
You're
going?
welcome.
We can keep going.
No.
There's no time limit on this shit.
I mean, I could talk about bullshit forever.
I
just-
think the guests listening at home would like there to be a time limit on this shit.
probably.
I don't think they're going to sit here for
All
another
right.
hour listening to us ramble about comic book TV
I think
shows.
the only thing that's going to keep people, like if we do like a live movie commentary.
Do you want to do that? I've been thinking
Yes,
about
I
doing
so
that.
wanna do that.
I've been thinking about doing that for so long.
for like an old movie or like
Any
Anything.
movie.
as long as we
I
can
think-
agree on one.
I really
Let's
think
do.
Can it not be a Marvel film though?
Can we do something that one of us hates and that the other two like?
I think
The
that I
Room?
feel like that's probably easier for well, everybody loves The Room.
not me. I don't.
You've never
I don't
even
hate
seen
it.
it.
You've
It's
never
just
even
not.
seen
I don't.
The Room,
No, I've
but-
seen The Room.
Dude,
I've seen
let's
The
do The
Room.
Room.
I just.
The
I
Room
don't.
would be fun.
I don't think
The
it's
Room
that
would be really fun.
fantastic.
Steven's not seen
Because
The
I
Room.
have a lot to say about it.
Steven has seen the
Well, how about
Nostalgia
this?
Critics review of The Room. He has not seen the full movie,
I've
and there's a
seen it.
lot. There is a lot that is.
I've seen it. I have seen it.
I think you're lying.
I don't get the
90% of it.
following that it has.
90%, because 90%
So
of it's
I-
sexy. It's
just
really, really poorly
Put it
filmed
out
sex
there
scenes.
to like a social media thing. Like,
Yeah, guys,
get
tell us what movie we
suggestions.
should
Yeah,
watch.
Guys, there is a thing called social media, and we're on it. If you didn't know,
I mean, even if it's a movie I haven't seen, I think that's a good thing because then I can
feel like
give
it's probably-
my
where-
live hot
hey,
take.
I got an idea.
Where you
we
said,
should come up
where
with
you said to find a movie that two of us like and one of us doesn't like, I think it's probably easier to find a movie that you and I both like, but Steven doesn't like.
so that's
or
two
hasn't
of us
seen.
like, and one of us doesn't like.
Well, I'm saying it's probably easier than to find something that
Probably.
like me and Steve like that you won't like, or you and Steve like that I won't like.
but I think
Unless
we
it's
might
something Marvel.
we might be able to pull together a list of movies and do like a Twitter poll or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
we'll get like
something-
two
or like a
people to
Facebook
vote
poll?
on that.
I don't give
I
a
can't
shit.
wait.
But yeah, I think that's a great idea. And
Mom,
and
please vote.
you can you can find us on social media pretty
Oh,
much.
who am I kidding? My mom doesn't listen to the show.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Where else? Is that it? That's it? Social media wise?
Are we
Oh,
on
at-
Tout?
I don't know, but we should tout it
Tinder.
out. No, we're not on Tinder.
Grinder?
Actually, yes, we
Steven
are
is.
now. I should make a Tinder account just for the podcast.
Oh God,
so people
do not
swipe
no.
right on our podcast.
That might hurt your ego too much. I would not do that.
The joke. The
Anyway.
joke has officially jumped the shark. We
Good.
can no longer bring it up on this show.
Hey,
Steven's on Google Plus.
no, but the podcast is.
Oh my
you
God.
need you
When you have a
automatically
Gmail account,
listen,
I think
seriously.
it automatically does
when
it.
when you make a Gmail or I think it's even a YouTube account, you have to have a Google Plus account. You don't have the option.
Remember when they said that was gonna be the new Facebook?
All
And
right.
it lasted all of like 2 days, and people were like, "This
So
is
yeah,
not
let's
Facebook."
get recommendations on like a movie.
Yeah,
I'm
you can
down.
find us on Twitter, or
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram at Deep Six Podcast. Let us know what kind of movies you'd like to hear us do a live running commentary over. Could be comic book related, could be action related, it
I
could
think
be
Dan would prefer
snuff
it not
films.
be comic
I
book
like
related.
I like comic book movies, like Marvel comic book movies, but like
You
I
just
just
yelled
thi-
at us
I
for
feel
having
like-
too much comic property.
I just feel like if we do something comic book related, you guys are gonna make really really funny comments about like, oh, like this in the comment. I'm gonna just be like, what,
No,
what? Okay.
I'm not one of those guys. I can sit there
Unless it's like something I've already seen, like I know what already happened, so like. It's
But,
a little
uh,
different.
We could watch a bad comic book movie.
I think we should watch something that's not in Steven's
I think we
wheelhouse.
should watch Fantastic Four.
Oh
No,
my God, amazing.
I think we should watch something that's not in Steven's wheelhouse,
Well, wait,
aka
what-
something that's not comics, because I
watch-
think it's better that way if it's something Steven is not well versed in.
Let's
Like,
watch the entire
last
season of
podcast
Rick and
when I was
Morty.
watching Hateful Eight.
Yes, something like a Tarantino film would be perfect. Have you seen Django?
No.
Ooh, Django could be a good one.
How?
That's like 3 hours.
Yeah,
though.
that's the thing. I know that's a
Hateful
long
Eight
movie.
would be impossible because it's like longer
Yeah,
than
it's a long
SummerSlam.
All right, yeah, we'll give it some.
We'll
thought.
get it. We'll get it figured out. You
Peter
can,
Jackson's King Kong. We'll have to split it into 2 parts.
Good Lord.
You can let us know on Facebook, Twitter, at Deep Six Podcast what movies you'd like to watch along with us.
2001 Space Odyssey.
I'm all for a Kubrick film.
That would be hard.
Always.
Guys, I'm trying to do the sign off and you just keep going.
Sorry, we're spitballing. That's all.
We're trying to help the viewers, listeners.
At least you're not.
Maybe they're
snowballing.
viewing. I don't know.
Did I say that?
If they're viewing us, this is what? What?
Matt said you're spitballing, and I said at least you're not
So the-
snowballing. Anyway,
So the outro to the show.
Yeah.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all at Deep Six Podcast. You can also find us on Snapchat.
Spelled out
Deep
one
Six
word.
Podcast spelled out one word.
Spelled out one word.
DEEPSIXPODCAST.
Okay. They know how to spell. Presumably, they know how to spell.
Dan, where can they find you on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you got?
D_Spivak. I'm not going to spell it for you. I'm pretty sure you know it by now.
Matt, what about you? I think you've got a blog.
I'm on the twit at the Matt Barnes,
He's on the Twitstagram
IG.
and the Instagram.
at the Matthew Barnes. Follow my personal blog at thedoormatreview.com.
What have you reviewed lately?
Which Dan and I might be guest
Yes,
bloggers on at some
we were
point.
discussing.
Guest blogging. Ooh.
I don't even think about it as a guest thing. I just want you guys to write whatever you want whenever you want.
So we should just make it the Deep Six Podcast
I'm going to review.
blog.
Essentially.
I'm going to review a snuff film. How's that sound?
That's fine with me.
I'll review every episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. all
Steven,
season.
why don't you review episodes of the Deep Six podcast?
I'll review our own podcast.
That way it looks like somebody
Perfect.
actually gives a shit.
Great. Where else can they find it?
great,
You can find
great.
me.
No yelling on the bus.
You can find me on Instagram and
Hot
Twitter.
Guys X99 or X69.
You can swipe right on Steve on Grindr.
God damn it.
Follow him. Legitimately follow him. Not on social media. Just follow him. Just walk around with him all
You
day.
can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Steven
He has the worst
with
Twitter.
a V _Spivak.
Worst Twitter.
And you can find everything. Everything. I mean, literally everything.
Where can they listen to us?
I was going to say you can find everything on deep6podcast.com, including links to subscribe to this very show that you're listening to
On,
iTunes,
on,
Google Play,
on,
Stitcher Radio,
and on.
Podbean.
Hey.
But you can make sure to subscribe, please.
Please.
And please share this show. I ask you people to do that all the time, and I don't ever see anyone doing it.
Thanks for tuning into our live SummerSlam podcast.
Yeah, if you
even
were
though
there
that was
for the
long,
4-hour hellhole
very long
of a show that was.
Shout out to Stan Handsome.
I thank you for being part of that. If you're a part of that, thank you for listening to this show. Please share this show. Please subscribe. Please follow us on social media. And until next time,
Peace out.
that's been the Deep Six Podcast. We'll see you later.
Goodbye.